Hi everybody. Kevin Barhide here. Thanks for tuning in. In my recovery, I've really focused on learning some of the tools that can help me to manage not just my past, but my present and my future. And one of those issues that I've tried to grapple with is making sure that I don't have any regrets. Disappointments I can live with. Regrets will send me back. I remember once in recovery being on the phone with my sponsor and really struggling with a decision and asking, I'm not sure which way to go. And he asked me the question, which will you regret? And it really dawned on me at that point that whatever decision I make, I don't have a lot of control over exactly what's going to happen, but I can make a decision now today based on what I feel most strongly that I will regret if I do or don't do. Because some of the things we regret are things we do. Some of the things we regret are things we left undone. But disappointment, on the other hand, is not like regret. Regret is something that festers. Disappointment is something that I can find tools and learn to live with. One of the first tools to live with disappointment is acceptance. And that acceptance allows me to remember I'm not alone. Disappointment happens to lots of folks. Disappointment happens right here as I'm making these videos. Sometimes minute by minute I struggle with how I want to say what I'm saying. Once I've remembered that this happens to a lot of folks and I can accept it, I can move on to really the second part of this, which is separating my own self from the disappointment, separating my feelings from actually what's happening. The struggle doesn't mean that I'm going to fail ultimately. The struggle doesn't mean that I'm a failure. That's shame. The struggle means that I'm human, and that's a piece that I can separate myself from and then start to work forward to the next level. I know for me what I've done so much is shame myself. I felt like I was a failure. There was something inherently wrong with me, and that has a lot to do with my past, the abandonment and adoption, and the abuse that I suffered, feeling like I was not of value and not of worth. There's a way through that, and one piece of that is to remind myself, after I've accepted this and after I've changed that dynamic, that I can reframe exactly how I speak about this. And having grappled with these first three pieces, now I can see the difference between a regret and the enormity of regrets and the compartmentalization of disappointments, the smallness of each specific disappointment and what I need to do moving forward, which is make a plan. How do I want to proceed from here? The disappointment has happened. The feelings have been separated. I've been able to reframe this and I've stopped shaming myself. Now, how do I want to move forward? Having these four tools in my toolbox and practicing them over the years has given me a real strong foundation so I can take other risks, knowing that I can deal with the disappointments as they come. It's also helped me to really learn the difference between planning for disappointments that will come and encouraging myself to make decisions that I won't regret. When I decided I was going to write my book, I had to really sit down and ask myself, what will I regret? Will I regret if I get halfway through writing it and I realize I can't write? Will I regret if I get done writing it and the editing doesn't work? Will I regret if I don't get an agent, a publisher, or if no one ever reads it? And what I realized is I wouldn't regret any of those. Each one of those, I would be disappointed, but I have the tools to deal with disappointment. But I knew one thing and one thing for sure, I would regret if I didn't try. And that was a real test for me. I had plenty of disappointments, daily struggles, a lot of places where I felt, can I do this? But I used these tools. And as I used these tools, it allowed me to continue. And the more I used the tools, the more I practiced putting these tools into action, the stronger I felt that I could keep going and that I could keep trying. Remember, the only regret I would have is if I didn't try. And it materialized. When I finished the book and I worked with an editor, I got it in my hands, I read it through, and I said, this is it. And there was a moment, I didn't see it coming, when I really realized I had done everything in my power to write the best that I could, to make it the best that I could. And there was a moment when it really just settled in, I'm past the place of regrets. That was a real uplifting moment for me. Now I know that as I move forward, there'll be disappointments on a daily basis. But being past that place of regrets, knowing that I've really defined for myself what I would not regret. You see, I regret that I couldn't get those words out, but now I'm smiling. And the whole point of this is that once I've defined what I will and will not regret, and I know that I can deal with disappointments, and I can go through these stumbling blocks. I might feel embarrassed, I might even feel silly, but I can move forward and recognize that the disappointments aren't going to kill me. I've got tools to deal with disappointments, but the regrets, they're going to kill me. They're going to send me out to the drink. They're going to send me out to the drug. They're going to send me to that really self-destructive behavior and that shame and remorse and feeling like I'm not worthy. And I don't want to go back there again. And I want to end with this. We don't have to go back there. We don't have to be ashamed. We don't have to self-destruct. I can't do this alone. I need you. We need to do this together. Thanks for taking the time today to be with me. I've put some notes in the description down below. Please don't forget to subscribe wherever that button is. And I hope to see you next time. Take care.